Well, thank you and welcome tonight. We are so excited to share this amazing information that we have with you this evening. If you are watching this recording or if you are on this call this evening, you were invited by somebody who's a part of an amazing group called the Healthy Living Revolution, where together we come alongside of individuals and families and help to move them towards better health in ways that are simple, doable, and fun. And we're going to have a really fun evening. We're going to discuss really just some health information in general, and then we're going to move a little bit more specific to CF. You're going to get to hear from somebody who currently has CF, a caregiver of somebody with CF, and a respiratory therapist. So stay tuned because the stories are totally where it's at. So my name is Julie, and I'm going to be your hostess this evening, and I'm just going to continue on with some awesome information for you. So we are passionate because there are two startling trends that are happening in our world today. And the first is that our environmental toxins are increasing. So whether this is with products we're putting on our skin, the air that we're breathing, the water that we're drinking, the pharmaceuticals that we're taking, the food that we're eating, our world is so much more toxic today than it was for our grandparents and for our grandparents' parents. And at the same time that our world is becoming more toxic, our food quality is severely decreasing. I love this image because this gentleman is in the center aisle of the grocery store. And I know I made a great shift about 6 years ago when I stopped looking at calories and fat on food and I started looking at ingredients. And I was shocked to learn that most of what I was eating was not even food. It was food-like products. So our food should really be what's helping to combat this increase in toxicity in our environment. But unfortunately, it's contributing to it. So oxidative stress is linked to poor health. So what is oxidative stress? Well, oxidative stress is cellular damage in our body. It doesn't matter if we're doing something maybe good or something bad. We all have oxidative stress. As long as we're breathing, we have it. We could be out running 5 miles or out late one evening, up too late, and it's still causing oxidative stress in our body. And what it is it's free radicals that are in our body that are hitting and damaging our cells. And when we eat antioxidants, they find those free radicals, they bind with them, and they neutralize them. When they neutralize them, they keep them from pinging our cells and causing that cellular damage. So we know that our best defense is antioxidants. A great way to think of oxidative stress is to think of an apple. When you cut open an apple and the flesh of the apple is exposed to the air, it begins to oxidize, to brown, to age. But we know if we take lemon juice, an antioxidant, and squeeze it on the flesh of the apple, it delays that process. And that's the same thing that happens in our body with antioxidants. So we all know where we get antioxidants from, right? From fruits and vegetables. But unfortunately, today's mass-produced produce is packing a much less nutritional punch. And there's 2 main reasons for this. The first is soil depletion. I'm not going to go into that tonight, but you should totally learn more about it and get educated. The second is that it's mass-produced. I can run up to our neighborhood store and buy just about any fruit or vegetable I'd like, but our plants get most of their nutrition within the last 24 to 48 hours of ripening on the vine. And our fruit and vegetables are picked a good 2 to 3 weeks before we buy them from the store, and then they're made to be able to sit on our countertop for about a week. So I want you to consider that the fruit or vegetable is the baby of the plants. And we know how important it is for a baby to remain connected to its mother, a full 40 weeks. And it's the same for the fruit and the vegetable. And we're taking it off of its nutrition source way too early. And it's resulting in this much depleted food. So this is an amazing image. This is the iron content that was present in a bowl of spinach in 1953. In 1997, you had to eat 43 bowls of spinach to get that same iron content than 1953. And I think this is really explaining some of the challenges that we're having today with our health, is that we're trying really, really hard, but we're still struggling, much because of our food. And this is just iron. There's so much more in spinach that we're also probably depleted in. So, around the 1950s and 1960s, we really thought that there were 12 essential vitamins that our body needed. And it's relatively newer research that we've learned that there's over 20,000 different nutrients that are present in one apple. There's over 25,000 different nutrients in one blueberry and over 14,000 in one avocado. But they've only named 140 of those 14,000 in an avocado. We really are just now scratching the surface of what's there. I've heard people say that it's like if Galileo thought there were 157 stars. We really will probably never know everything that's present in our food. But what we do know is that it's much more than maybe what we were getting in the standard multivitamin that we thought was bridging the gap. So there's no doubt there's a place for vitamins at certain times for people. But what we really all have a deficiency in is whole food. We have a whole food deficiency. We need more of the apple. We need that synergy of ingredients that you see over here on the right. This is the 400 named ingredients in an apple. And ingredient number 7 and ingredient number 150 and ingredient number 352, they all work together perfectly in our body. So one amazing fact to point out kind of the synergy in food is that an apple has 5.7 milligrams of vitamin C. But when you eat an apple and your body converts it, it's the equivalent of taking a 1,500 milligram isolated vitamin C. So your body knows what to do with whole food. And we really are on a mission to share how people can get more whole food into their diet. So the government for a long time said 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and then they increased it to 7 to 13. But that's if everything's healthy and everything's great. If you're fighting disease, if you're overweight, if you exercise, if you're expecting, you actually need closer to 16 to 18 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. There are some studies coming out that suggest within the next 50 years, we will need 30 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So basically, the government got it right a few years ago, and they just said more matters. Nobody with the standard American diet has too many of any color of the rainbow in their diet. So we need more, and our body knows what to do with more. So I'm excited. The women you're going to get to hear from later are excited because at some point in our journey, someone introduced us this amazing product called Juice Plus. And I love to tell the backstory of how Juice Plus came to be. So it was developed over 30 years ago by a doctor. His name was Dr. Smokey Santillo, and he was more of a holistic practitioner that helped cancer patients juice. And his dad was diagnosed with lymphoma and given 3 weeks to live. So Dr. Smokey wanted to find a way to make his juice more powerful. So he decided that instead of juicing the fruits and vegetables, he was going to take the whole thing with the pits, the peel, the rinds, the seeds, even sometimes the leaves whenever possible. He put it in a Vitamix, blended it up. What was left over was a slurry, and he dehydrated that at a cold temperature to preserve the nutrients. And it resulted in a powder, and he just pumped his dad full of this powder. And his dad ended up living for 6 more years. But really what was amazing was that he had quality of life, which is so rare for many people that are fighting cancer today. And so that's when he knew he was onto something. And this amazing product hit the market 25 years ago. I love to mention that because that is very rare in this space. It's been on the market for 25 years. So I'm going to tell you what makes it unique in just a second, but I want you to take a second to look at all of the different colors, all of the different pieces of produce. Some of these on here I've never even eaten myself, but I get them every day through my Juice Plus. I hear sometimes people will say to me, oh, I eat a lot of fruit. I only need the greens. And the truth is that's not true. We all can use the variety of color, as a consistent foundation for us and our health every single day. So this is what makes Juice Plus incredibly unique. The first is my favorite, and it said it's whole food. It has a food label, not a vitamin or a supplement label. If you can eat a salad, you can eat Juice Plus. You won't overdose on it. There's no warning label. You can't take too much. I opened up the capsules and gave it to my kids at 6 months old, and that makes sense to me. So it's full of that phytonutrition, those 400 ingredients that were in that apple, instead of isolated vitamins. It's non-GMO, dairy-free, and gluten-free. It has an NSF certification, which is a third party that validates that what we say is in our product is and nothing more. It's the highest level of certification you can receive, and we've had it for over 20 years. And finally, that NSF certification is what ensures that it's free of any herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, yeast, mold, and bacteria, which is amazing because even when I drive up to the store and buy an organic apple, I'm not sure that it's free of any pesticides and herbicides. So I love that peace of mind. And then finally, when this product hit the market 25 years ago, people had unique experiences. So they decided they wanted to see, what is this doing on human beings with blood drawn? And today, with 38 published studies, Juice Plus is the most researched nutritional product in the world, and I'm certain will remain that way. We have 9 studies underway, which is the most we've ever had. We've been researched at Brigham Young, Yale, Vanderbilt, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and published in some of the most prestigious journals. And my friend Jessica is going to talk a little bit more about the research later, but these are just, some of the promises of Juice Plus. And considering the CF community, I think about balancing out the immune system, reducing inflammation, contributing to lung health, and what a long-term effect that can have for somebody who's fueling their body with this every single day. So again, you'll get to hear a little bit more on this later. Our other product is called our Juice Plus Complete Shakes. And so these are actually going to fill your belly. I love these because they're simple. It's great fast food. So if you consider that your body is like a car needs oil and gas and a high quality of each to run well, right? And our body's the same way. It needs micronutrition and macronutrition. But we know we can kind of skip an oil change or delay it or use crummy oil. And as long as we have gas in the tank, our car's likely still going to run, but problems will be brewing. And that's really where a lot of us are. A lot of us are skipping that micronutrition, those thousands of nutrients that are in a apple, we are deficient in. And so even though we have gas in the tank in terms of macronutrition, our cells are hungry for some good nutrition. So that's where our capsules come in. But macronutrition is proteins, fats, and carbs. And our company realized we have an abundance of that in our country, but just a very little of it is of high quality. So that's where our shakes come in. They're low glycemic, so they stabilize your blood sugar. The number one thing my friends tell me is they actually keep me full. And that's not because it has thousands of milligrams of grams of protein. It's because it keeps your blood sugar stable. They're vegan and non-GMO, gluten and dairy free, full of plants. They're delicious. They come in chocolate and vanilla, but they have these powerful prebiotic fibers and oligosaccharides. And those oligosaccharides can help to heal the lining of your gut, which is so important in a time right now when many people are dealing with leaky gut. So I love these. These are my simple and easy meal of the day. And then finally, it's been a year in October that we came out with our first capsule product in over 15 years. It's our Juice Plus Omega Blends. And we are learning that omega fatty acids support the heart, brain, joints, skin, and eyes, and that many of us are deficient in a high quality source of omega oils. So many of us are bridging the gap with a fish oil. But it takes 3 to 4 pounds of fish to get 1 ounce of fish oil. So we decided to skip the fish and go straight to the algae, which is where the fish get their omega-3s from, and make this all plant-based. So it's 100% plant-based whole food nutrition, which makes it much more pure and much more sustainable. And it is a full spectrum omega. So it's omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. We believe God put them all on earth for a reason, and we were meant to have each of them in a high quality. But one of my favorite parts is that our capsule is cold pressed. Many omega supplements that are fully encapsulated have to be heated to a certain temperature in order to get them encapsulated. And then by the time you're ingesting that oil, it's actually rancid from that high heat. So it took years to develop, but we have the technology to cold press our vegetarian capsules, which is awesome. And so these omegas are important, right, for brain, joints, like I said, but specifically for this call, thinking of our heart and our lungs. We know that omegas can support and improve cardiovascular health, as well as to help your pancreas and to help improve insulin response, which is wonderful. So I'm going to wrap this part up with my favorite quote from Dr. Richard Du Bois. He's been named America's top doc. He was head of infectious disease in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was one of the first of now thousands of healthcare professionals to come alongside our company and recommend Juice Plus. And he said, there is nothing available anywhere else in the world with or without a prescription that has been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus does. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and ask my friend Bridget to unmute herself and just start sharing her story. Thanks, Bridge.
Can you hear me? Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm Bridget. I'm 44. I have CF. I actually have double copy Delta 5F08. F508. Sorry. I've been married for 20 years. My husband and I have 3 biological children, 2 of which are twins. So they are 17 and 15, and we are nonstop right now. I mean, nonstop. So anyway, a little bit about my history as far as CF goes. I've always been relatively healthy. Played sports all my life. I actually have an older sister with CF. She had a double lung transplant almost 16 years ago, and then a kidney transplant almost 7 years ago, and she's doing great. We were raised in a family of 6 kids. We were treated pretty much like the rest of the family. So, we did everything that our siblings did, which I think really contributed to keeping us healthy because we were too busy to think about anything else. So we just did what everybody else did. So sports were huge for me. I actually started playing volleyball through grade school and then competitively all the way through a couple years of college. So that kept me very fit. Once I was in college, really got the bug for fitness and I don't want to say nutrition, but more fitness. And it just really sparked a love of that in me. And so I actually became a certified personal trainer shortly after my husband and I were married. And while I was very fit and healthy, I didn't really give much thought to nutrition. I ate well. I knew that I ate balanced, but I did not get a lot of plants into my diet. So when I was introduced to Juice Plus and I started to kind of really pay attention, like, well, yeah, that makes sense that fruits and vegetables would have an impact. It was just so simple to me. It made complete sense. And, the recommended daily allowance is 7 to 13 servings per person per day. With a family of 5, we were lucky to get that within a week between all 5 of us. And I'm really not exaggerating. And I thought we were doing good with that, So this just really seemed like a simple, easy fix. So that was literally the only reason that we started. And I had no expectations whatsoever, just wanted the reassurance of getting that nutrition in. So it was about 3 to 4 months in is when I had a total transformation of my gut. Shortly before I turned 40, I had a lot of the CF side for me was a lot of digestive issues, and I had really become a train wreck. Without going into detail, my quality of life was affected tremendously. So to have any improvement in that area was so impactful. So now what I've noticed is that not that I don't have those issues anymore, but the severity, the duration, and the frequency is like so much less. If that were the only thing that improved, I would say I would never, ever stop at it, keep taking Juice Plus. But alongside that, my energy increased tremendously. The quality of my sleep was so much better. And then one day at my dental cleaning, my gums, like I had this whole big healing of my gums. My gums would bleed so bad, and it was just atrocious every time I would go and get my teeth cleaned. Well, and I will never forget it because I almost jumped out of the chair when the hygienist was like, "Gosh, your gums look so great. You didn't bleed at all through your cleaning." And I was like, "What?" So why? It seems like that would be a really small thing to be excited about, but no, that our gums is a real window into the rest of our body. So if the inflammation within our gums has decreased, then systemically the inflammation has decreased also, which is huge when it comes to CF. I had an appointment just a few weeks ago at my clinic, and 3 times while I was in my doctor's office, he brought up inflammation. And so it's a huge aspect that we need to pay attention to when it comes to overall health, but obviously when we're looking at CF, being able to reduce that can only help our lungs to function better and our pancreas to function better and our gut to get better. So anyway, so I got excited. I really paid attention to the research and started learning why my body was reacting the way that it was. And, to be clear, Juice Plus did not cure or heal anything in me. Juice Plus provided some nutrition that my body was critically lacking, and then my body was able to start healing in the areas that it was able to. Number one being my gut. And again, not that those issues are gone, but just the impact of how much better they are is so significant. So the product part of it has just been wonderful, just a simple, easy solution because like I said, I have 3 kids, I'm married, I'm a small business owner. So to try and do some overhaul of my family's nutrition was not an option at all. So the simplicity of what this offers was a no-brainer for me. And I feel like it's just such a wonderful, simple solution for so many people. And then just as importantly is the community of what I've learned through the Juice Plus community. The education that I've learned has been so empowering to me. And I feel like there is more that I can do to keep myself well. And it's been an absolute catalyst for me to continue to always learn that I can do things a little bit better. So I'm thrilled that you're here on this call. I'm thrilled about the people that you're going to hear from as well. And, you know, and the crazy thing is, without being in this Juice Plus community, I wouldn't know any one of these women. And so that's a whole other gift for a whole other time to talk about. So, so I'm going to turn it over to my good friend, Cindy.
Thank you, Bridget. Well, thank you for joining this call today. So my world changed forever a little over 29 years ago when my beautiful baby boy was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. I didn't even know what CF was. He didn't have any major issues that, you know, was like red flag CF. But he was having, like Bridget said, digestive issues at about age 1. And so that was the first thing they tested for, and it came back positive. No one in my family that we know of had ever had CF. And it was terrifying time for me. I just didn't know anything about it. And really on going to clinic, they really didn't preach good nutrition. It was all about calories in and calories out. And I was a very picky eater myself and had struggled with a lot of digestive issues. I was a failure to thrive baby. I was very small stature for my size, and they thought I had celiac disease at one point. So they even tested me for cystic fibrosis. So after about 2 years, we came up with genetic testing and found out that he had one of the Delta 508 genes and a no-nonsense mutation. So growing up, you know, he was very active, played a lot of sports like Bridget, but our nutritional status was really lacking. I listened to the clinic and the dietitian, and I gave him whatever he wanted. And I was a very picky eater, so because I didn't like fruits and vegetables, neither did my children. And so for me, when I first heard about Juice Plus 18 years ago, it was an easy, no-brainer way to get fruits and vegetables in our diets. I had suffered from ulcerative colitis as well. And like I said, he had cystic fibrosis. My middle son had severe allergies, and my younger one was just a baby at the time that I was introduced to Juice Plus. So it just made perfect sense. I was a single mom at that time, and you know, it was really super easy with the Children's Health Study that we have, that for every parent, you can get a child on Juice Plus for free. So it was just, you know, I'm not saying it's going to cure anything, but it's just bridging that gap and making me feel better as a mom that I was getting some fruits and vegetables. And over time, we started craving healthier foods. I stopped drinking soda. And, you know, kids don't always listen to what you say, but they watch what you do. And so, you know, now as a family, you know, we don't drink soda anymore, and we drink a lot more water. We don't go to the fast food restaurants. I was going probably 1 to 2 times a day. I hate to say it. You know, the kids liked it, and it was easy. And, you know, the clinic kind of got the little stamp of approval there at the time. And so, you know, it just was an easy way for me. And so I know that I've been able to significantly impact the health of our entire family by adding Juice Plus, and I'm so forever grateful. You know, my ulcerative colitis went into remission. It's been about 17 years since I've really taken any medicine. And, you know, my son, you know, did really, really well for many, many years. And this past May, he got a bilateral double lung transplant. And I feel so good knowing that he had Juice Plus all those years, fueling his body and supporting his body through this transition. And we're so blessed, and we're so thankful for each and every day. And Bridget's sister is my hero. She's my inspiration because she's almost 16 years post-transplant. So thank you for listening to my story. And I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, who is a respiratory therapist, and she's going to share a little bit more about the medical background and what she's seen with cystic fibrosis in some of her patients.
Thank you so much, Cindy. I love hearing these stories, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing what you all have gone through and the courage that you've had and the changes that you've made, and being able to inspire others. So I am a registered respiratory therapist. I'm actually a respiratory therapist because I was a really bad asthmatic growing up. I was one of those kids that was just constantly sick, in the hospital all the time, 6 times a year, 2 weeks at a time. And when I was hospitalized the last time, at 17 years old, a respiratory therapist had made a profound difference in my health. So when I went on to college the next year, even though I thought I was going in for psychology, I found out that they offered respiratory therapy, and I saw it and I decided I wanted to be able to make a difference in other people's lives like that therapist had made for me, and that I wanted to be able to pay it forward. So I went to school for respiratory care, fast forward about another 20 years, and found myself with my own children, my own 2 girls, and I was working at one of the most prominent children's hospitals in the world. I've actually had worked there for 26 years, so I've definitely seen my share of sick children. So as a mom, when you have your own children, you want to do everything you can to protect them and keep them healthy. Well, at the time, my kids were 4 and 6. They had been sick all the time, just like me. They were on the same path that I was on when I was young, getting sick all the time. They had both had their tonsils and adenoids removed. They were on multiple rounds of antibiotics, inhaled corticosteroids, as well as oral steroids. They had been on bronchodilators all the time. And the biggest thing is that they never ate well at all. Actually, one of them was on Miralax every single day because she'd had constipation issues since she was 6 months old. And I knew that getting better nutrition into their bodies and getting them to eat some kind of fruit or vegetable, because they were just eating a bland white diet at the time, would probably help them. And at that time, we were gardening because I thought that if they grew it, they would eat it. You know, I was doing everything I could as a parent, as we do, to get them to try to eat some fruits and vegetables. And I ended up throwing my own back out. And one of my doctors actually reintroduced us to Juice Plus because we had heard about it before, but I never really looked into it. And she said, why don't you try this? You can actually get it into their bodies every day. And so my youngest was with me at the time. She tried the Chewies and she actually ate them. So as a mom, it was like that seatbelt of, okay, so at least we can get these 30 different fruits and vegetables into them every day, and I can kind of relax a little bit. So I just had wanted more for them. I wanted them to, get better nutrition. I was hoping that maybe they could be a little bit healthier by getting it in, but I had no idea what it would do for us. And eating Juice Plus every day and getting it into their systems every day and getting into our whole family system every day made such a profound difference for our family. And what I saw in my girls' health just really astounded me as a respiratory therapist. You don't get nutrition training when you're in college. I actually took some elective courses because I was interested in it, but I had no idea what just getting fruits and vegetables into the body would do, and how the body could then begin to repair itself, and how out of balance the body can be if you're not getting proper nutrition. So it took me a really long time, actually, because when you're in healthcare, you tend to not believe that nutrition can play such an important role. But we've been eating for about 7 years now. So I need to share that my one daughter has not wheezed again since we started Juice Plus and has never taken Miralax again. But that's how out of balance her body was and how out of whack her diet was. And now she's a 13-year-old thriving girl, athlete. She eats salads, packs her salads for lunch. It has completely remodeled their taste buds, but it's something that their body needed and craved. And they were able to get that nutrition in, and it totally turned around her health. My second daughter has only wheezed a handful of times. It was provoked by a strong irritant. And again, she used a rescue inhaler, but to date has never needed steroids again. And I could count on one hand the number of times that the girls were out sick that they've used from school between the two of them. And so instead we get to take mental health days and go do something fun together, like go to New York City with their aunt or something like that. Now, listen, it's not to say that it has prevented everything, but to see the sheer power of whole food nutrition, I really had to wrap my head around it. the other thing that was really interesting to me as I became part of the Juice Plus community, because I felt like I had a moral obligation to share it once I saw the profound difference it made in our health. But I started to hear of cystic fibrosis patients, and I started to hear of their pulmonary function testing improving after getting the good nutrition into their bodies. And in the 26 years of CHOP, I did the gamut of what you can do as a respiratory therapist. And one of the things that I did is that I'm a registered pulmonary function technologist. And I worked with the CF patients. Actually, when I first started at CHOP as a student respiratory therapist, the cystic fibrosis patients were among my patients that I worked with every single day. And then as I went through the years, I watched them grow and develop these relationships with them. And so when they came in for their pulmonary function testing, it was so great to catch up with them. And, you start to develop a bond with them. So they've always been very special in my heart. So when I heard of someone speaking about their pulmonary function testing improving, I was like, gosh, there's got to be some relation here. And so I actually, have always been involved with institutions that were research-based and evidence-based medicine. We always practiced that. I was doing research myself. So I did what I knew. I really had to look at the research and really go and find out why the antioxidants made such a big difference in the lung health. And Jules did a great job explaining why they're so important in our body. But the really cool thing is that the epithelial lining of the lung has this fluid around it. It's your body's first defense in any toxins that come in. And when you are low, study after study, you can go and find study after study, depending on any lung disease, shows that when that antioxidant levels are low in that fluid, that the lung disease is more prevalent and that they have a worse outcome. So fueling your body with more antioxidants, it just naturally makes sense that you are getting that first line defense and you're blocking that oxidative stress and blocking that inflammation, which we all know is a part of what we see happen with cystic fibrosis patients. So it started to really make sense to me. And then the other thing that I loved about Juice Plus when a physician shared it with me is that I went and read all of the research articles. Jules talked about some of the things that we have found in them. And I went through every study because I was a mom giving it to my kids. And I wanted to read it and really understand it. And what we found is that Juice Plus, it gets into the body. It's absorbed into the bloodstream. They actually have done tests on Juice Plus itself on humans, and it is gold standard study. It is randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, and on the product directly, and it shows that the product is absorbed and goes right into the bloodstream, increases the antioxidant levels, and then your own body helps to produce even more antioxidants. So it's a catalyst for the positive change in the bloodstream. We also have seen that it decreases the inflammation in the body. We've seen that it helps to support, like we've heard, our cardiovascular health. So our lungs and our hearts working together. It shows that it balances the immune system, like Jules had mentioned. It's not that it's some kind of miracle cure for anything. It's just that it gives your body the fuel it needs, like Jules talked about in the car, and gives you all of the oil and the gas that your body needs to fuel the systems. Your body's the miracle, and it knows how to heal itself. True osteopathic medicine says that the body has the innate ability to heal itself. So all it does is give it the fuel to do it. But we have research that shows that it gets into the body, that it does all these things, and that Jules had that great slide on. And we also know that families are missing less sick days and missing less time from work because they're eating it together with our Children's Health Study. It also is shown to be protective of our DNA, reduce the oxidative stress, improve our quality of life. The research just keeps coming, and each study keeps stemming another study, and that's why we're up to 38 studies now published, and there's 9 more in the works that are coming. So the one study that I will share with you that was really remarkable to me as a respiratory therapist is a study that they did on heavy smokers and their lung health. And I will never, ever suggest that it is a good idea to continue smoking for anyone. So I'm just going to put that out there. But with this study, they were heavy smokers that took Juice Plus. And what they noticed was that their FEV1, which most of you, the CF population understands what that is, but it's the forced expiratory volume of the flow in the first second when you blow out. And it's a measure of the degree of obstruction in the airways. And when you're a smoker, you definitely have some damage that occurs there. And also the other thing that they studied was the gas exchange, how well it diffused across the membranes. And what they found in the heavy smokers that continued smoking, they had an improvement in both of those measurements in pulmonary function testing, even when they were continuing to smoke. So it shows how important those antioxidants are in protecting the lung health, even when there's free radicals and the oxidative stress hitting it like crazy. So it started to all make sense to me. And actually, I will tell you that I was so intrigued by all of this along the journey that I actually went back to school to become an integrative nutrition health coach, because I could not believe the power of nutrition and how profound it was, what I was seeing in the people that I was sharing with it, what I was seeing with my families. And I love the quality of it, the quality of the powders that we go and we have our relationships with our growers. We test the farms that the produce is grown on. And here's something really significant for me as a healthcare provider. Every batch of Juice Plus is triple batch tested for over 400 contaminants. So you never have to worry about impurities. And we know that's going on in the news right now, that there's impurities in our food that are getting people sick. And we can feel confident in recommending it to people, and my family, my friends, my patients, because we know that, number one, that it's good whole food nutrition, and we know that there's nothing, no disease state, nothing that good whole food nutrition can't help. So I am very proud to be a partner with the Juice Plus company. Even though I've worked with the most prestigious institutions around the world, I am so proud to be a part of this company and be able to share this mission with these amazing people on this call tonight. And be able to make such a difference in people's lives with something so simple that is such a solution for so many. Jules, I'll pass it back to you if you want to wrap us up for the night.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm all fired up. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, like Jessica said, for your vulnerability. And then Jessica for her brilliance. I could have just listened to her over and over. So, at this point, we really ask you to do, or we offer for you to do one of three things. Maybe you're feeling excited about this simple solution that is Juice Plus. It really is the most affordable way that we know to get a massive amount of nutrition into busy families. Cindy mentioned there's an amazing program where any adult who takes Juice Plus can sponsor any child for free for up to 4 years, as long as they're age 4 to 18 or a full-time college undergrad. So if you're feeling excited to bridge the gap with Juice Plus, please reach out to the person who invited you to this call or shared the recording. Number 2, maybe Juice Plus isn't for you, but you thought of somebody in your life who could benefit from watching this recording or from this information. And if that's the case, please connect them to the person who shared this with you. And then number 3, maybe you're like me and you got all fired up hearing all of that stuff, and you really thought of people who need to hear about this, and you're excited about it as well. And if that's the case, like Jessica mentioned, we are looking for people to partner with our amazing company to spread this mission of inspiring healthy living around the world. We love that we can help people get healthier, both, in their bodies and with financial health. So if that's where you're at as well, please ask the person who shared this opportunity or this recording with you. So with that being said, thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording.